We're live at the Black Power Station. I'm here with Internet Athi. Of course, we are repping Tru FM, PrettyBoy Zuja on Smooth Music Sundays. He's our first guest, so I'm very excited for this, my brother.
Yeah.
My brother, let's get into it, right? So, Internet Athi, PrettyBoy Zuja.
Yeah.
Obviously, Athi is probably short for Atengos. But what's the internet in the Athi?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me for Nkuboyen. It's so special to be one of the first people in Nkuboyen. Kamalam Lokzalong Atengos Trejana, as you've mentioned. Ikaze Trufm Vaba. Trejana is the surname of Tatawam. Dumchilibe, Bango, Ndizobobese, Ulanga. And yeah, I think Internet Athi is an extension of myself as that identity. So Athi being the nickname that I got growing up, everywhere I've gone, that's always been the name. Even at home, that's how I'm called. But internet comes from like multiple places. Comes from the internet itself, from social media. It comes from sharing my music on social media and connecting with people over the internet. It also references the fact that before I stepped into being a full-time artist, I was in the tech space and I was constantly on the internet. So I wanted to always reference these things that are true to me, to who I am in my music, to people that don't know who I am.
Yeah.
It's also just a coded way for me of like introducing myself to Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such an action, like it's such a full answer, man. Like as you mentioning tech and stuff, that's stuff that I don't know about you and I'm a fan, you know what I mean? So, but getting into, bro, like I've been checking you out, man, even on the socials, the way you have this humble way of when you drop a song, you thank the mixing engineer, you thank the band individually, you thank everyone. And for me, from an outsider looking in, I'm thinking this guy was brought up right. Obviously, he's got great principles and values and stuff like that. I guess my question will probably be two-parted in that, which value or discipline would you say, or principle for that matter, would you say you hold dear to your heart? For example, for me, it's respect and probably the love of God.
Yeah.
But also on the second end of things, I want to understand, bro, does your upbringing, does it sort of pour into your music?
A lot.
For sure.
I think it comes out a lot. Khuluse obviously ngabefundisi mama no dad. But I don't think that's the main principle for me. I think ukubona abantu and I'm kukubonwa ngabanye abantu that I always carry in music.
Sure.
Right? Because I don't think I've seen a lot of talented people and obviously that's not the thing that I lead with. Yeah. So I think for me, the reason why I reference the people when I'm working with them, it's because I actually have relationships with those people. That's what makes my music have the feelings that it has, because it's really drawn from relationships with people.
Sure.
So I think nam ndiyakubona as umntu. So that for me then becomes the extension of everything else, because umsebenzi ekugqibeleni ngumsebenzi wona, but there's a bit of depth that umsebenzi has if I see you as the person. So I think that's what I carry with me. I don't think it's necessarily being humble. I think it's just seeing abantu and khulusa ngohlobo that prioritizes ukubona abantu. And I think that's been also the grace for me, because I think I think I've arrived at this point because of a community of people that have held me till this point. Obviously Ukamata as well, but I think nabantu Ukamata babeke around mna. I will always be championing those people wherever I go. I think in the music itself, I think to answer it in a nutshell, for me, my values obviously come from the way that I was raised. They come from where I grew up. They come from the schools that I went to. They come from the people that are in my life right now as well. And all those pointers, they make me see people the way that, I see people.
It's
brother, you mentioned people.
Yeah.
I couldn't get him in, but,
Yeah.
but I improvised. Shout out to Pra X.
Yeah.
This brother right here, Bongeziwe Mabandla.
Yeah.
Speak to me about him. I believe as you're working on your debut album, there's a couple of influences. There's a couple of people that you've mentioned that have, given you inspiration to write this album. I will let you. Kumshilo Athi. Athi ni kumshilo. Polymorphism.
Yeah.
Am I even pronouncing it right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Polymorphism.
Yeah.
That's the name of your upcoming album, your debut album.
Yes. Yeah.
I tried to Google it. All I read, I think there's something about changes. There's something about but I'll let you get into that because you have your own version of why you chose that.
Yeah.
But speak to me about the people that influenced you on your journey as you're preparing for your debut album, such as that album, Imini.
Yeah.
That artist, Bongeziwe
Yeah.
Mabandla, and maybe a couple of others.
Yeah. I mean, Polymorphism is my debut album. Luhlobo that I'm introducing myself to the world. The word itself, polymorphism, it's a Greek word. Two words that are combined. The first one being poly, which means many.
Okay.
And then the second one is morphism, which stems from the primary word morph, which means to change. So obviously the word is used across many different schools of thought. So in genetics, in computer science, and in other fields, right? For me, I reference it from my background in tech, as I mentioned before. So it's a topic that we cover in second year that talks about an entity having many forms. So, for example, you are a person, that's the entity. You can be a brother, a son, a father, a grandfather, so on. It doesn't change that you are a person.
Sure.
So that concept sat with me because that was a degree that I went to school for. And, I mean, I didn't finish the degree. So for me, calling it that was referencing something I didn't finish. And also, for me, I think tapping into all the things that happened for me to not finish that degree. I also use polymorphism as a concept within which I lay the foundations of love and the many forms of love that I've experienced. The love from my father to myself, the love from myself to my brothers and sisters, the love my sisters have shown me, the romantic love, the agape kind of love. And there's 4 different types of love that I also talk about in the album. I talk about the eros type of love, which is a romantic type of love, which you hear in a song like Ngoe. I talk about an agape kind of love, which you hear in Wena. I talk about a storge kind of love, which is a familial kind of love. The last one is philia, which is the love of friendship, companionship, and community. So in the album, I talk about all these different forms of love without spoon-feeding the audience because I am only just mirroring back what I've experienced, And obviously you can't group Utando. And Utando doesn't necessarily manifest in one way. It manifests in many ways. So for me, the album is just me saying to the world, this is what I've experienced as Watengos, and these are all the kind of different forms of love. And also I address that sonically too. I use different forms of genres. I use R&B, I use neo soul, I use jazz, I use Asingli in some of the songs. And all of these come from my influences, Bongeziwe being one of them. In Imini and Amatlesha, these were conceptual albums that he created. So in Imini, he talks about love there, but he uses Imini that he's shared with those people, right? Amatlesha is an extension of that as well. And I mean, for me, it goes beyond just that, My love for music, for me, transcends, I think, the influences I also even have, right? So I think for me, I mean, even the sounds that we hear right now, it's the kind of music that I also, happen to listen to as well. And without Uitala and make it very long, I think my influences have come out in the album, obviously. Pudringo also has come out in the album for me. Bongeziwe has come out in the album for me. A lot of South African music for me has come out in the process of creating the album. Some of the influences I wasn't even aware of, but regardless, they've come out. Yeah.
My brother, you're speaking about iphilia, you're speaking about agape.
Yeah.
You know, I was actually thinking I'm going to address the elephant in the room and say, when I felt like, there's no ways, come on.
Obviously,
But artists, I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, a close friend of mine, Usinom Solo, I once confronted him when he wrote Uchola, and I said, bro, but you're single, but you're writing Uchola. And it's like, bro, like as an artist, you have to be creative.
Yeah.
So I want you to speak to me about your creative process, because as a listener, when I look at Untembisile, Wenanguwe, there's a pattern of love, and you've just broken it down very beautifully now.
Thank you.
But I just want to understand, like, when you head into studio and you're about to do your thing, is there a certain concept in mind? When you wake up and go into studio, you're like, am I going to write about love today? Or do you draw inspiration from somewhere? Do you sort of pick up your guitar, play your guitar, and then the concept just comes?
Yeah, I want to be very honest. When I wrote when I was the second song that I wrote fully.
Sure.
And it's so amazing. I think this is one of the first places in 2022.
Sure.
I came and played the song here. It wasn't finished.
Sure.
And it was just myself and the guitar.
Yeah.
And my background, you know, literally comes from writing first before singing.
Okay.
So when I came as a stanza from a poem I had written, and I extracted that part and created a chant out of it.
Sure.
And my reason for creating a chant out of it was I felt that I could take that stanza and stretch it to a point that me repeating it wouldn't feel like I'm repeating it to the audience. That every time I'm singing it, a different layer of the love that I feel inside is being expressed.
Yeah.
And I think it was successful in Wena because of the way that people have, you know, received it.
Yeah.
There's people who feel like they're children, lunxumolwabo. You know, there's people that feel like they're partners, lunxumolwabo. There's people that feel like you know, their community and people around them, and I think for me, I can't claim that. I can't claim what people are doing with the song, but I can look at you in the eye and tell you when I was there writing and singing the song, everyone literally came to mind.
Sure.
And that's the way in which I create. I think I create from a place that tries to sonically match the feelings and the depth of the interactions I have with people every day.
Sure.
You know, I think about Umama Umzagelo, like in the other song that I wrote, Tsekyana, in the album, where, you know, she's someone who's very, very hilarious and funny. And in the album, I had to find a way to capture that.
Sure.
You know, and you'll hear it in the album when it comes out. There are certain elements that show the wit of myself, that show, you know, the romantic side of myself, that also show the mistakes I think that a normal person will have, that I also have like anyone else. And I just mirror those in the music without trying to fix a problem or try to become a hero in the story, because some of the stories we're not heroes to. We just are witnesses sometimes. And
the vessel.
Yeah, we're a vessel. I think for me, I think I've witnessed a lot of the feelings I talk about, if not for myself, also for the people around me. My friends have also experienced, you know, the things I talk about in the album. And I'm just someone who's mirroring those experiences than claiming and being a hero in the stories.
Sure. The smile when you spoke about it, and I can see that you hold your mom very dearly to you. As any boy child would. I mean, everything stops. But my brother, I hope I'm not, you know, triggering any sort of feelings, but I understand that your father has passed away. I noticed something. I know that the album hasn't dropped yet, but I noticed the album cover. It appears as if there's a boy child and a father. Is that by any chance your father, or is there something you're trying to, you know, show us there? Can you just speak more about the album cover, because I was very intrigued when I saw it.
No, correct. That's my father, Udlogovela Lucas Tsekyana. In the album, I cover that. So I cover the loss, but I also cover his life in Tsekyana. Then later on in the album, I also cover, you know, the people that were left behind. So my siblings, Ukutala, Ukinini, Nomatamsanga, Ntombizodwa, Onge, Upila, Upiko. I cover all of them, right? And I think for me, just immortalizing them as well, because I think they sit with me even right now as I'm talking to you, just as my father sits with me right now. And the cover art is literally, that's myself when I was less than a year. Yeah. And so I wanted to immortalize that moment. And freeze that moment forever. Yeah. So that's what the cover art is about, and the album is not necessarily about that moment alone, but it's also about the adult, the person that I now am.
Sure.
Yeah.
Utata wasn't around to witness your journey as a musician.
Yeah.
What do you think you'd say, looking at it from maybe a telescope, from the greater, the far alive, seeing that album cover and seeing you on your journey right now, the type of music you're making? Because I believe he might have played a role in the type of music that you make today.
Yeah.
What do you think he'd say, looking at your journey right now?
I think he'd be super proud.
Yeah.
I think he'd be super proud that I've been this brave.
Yeah.
I also think that he would have probably looked down on the journey as well, because my father was someone who came from a very old generation of people that believed that there's a certain path that you need to take.
Yeah.
But I think even myself rebelling that path, I think he would have been very respectful of me. Yeah. In terms of, I think they're calling us right now.
Yeah.
But I'm super, super grateful for the time that you guys have given me, and I'm sorry that I have to cut it this short.
Yeah.
But I literally have to go into the performance.
No, we'll keep the conversation going. Thank you for your time, my brother. Go kill it inside.
I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for the time as well.
Internet Athi.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.